He's trying to get I'm addicted to the thrill. It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
It's now time for the Natural State Sports Podcast with Michael Carnahan, Aaron, and Mike Pettis, where we take the biggest sports headlines across the spectrum that is sports, and we break it down for you, the fan. It's coming at you in just a moment.
Dave Roberts. I'm talking 5-6-0 shot, 0 trigger. Back to running circles round niggas, now we squared up. Hold up.
Life's a game, but it's not fair.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into our debut episode of the Natural State Sports Podcast. I am Money Mike, bringing you in here to another podcast here on Podcast Network 49. We've got about 10 of them now, for crying out loud, but definitely excited to be doing this one. This one's been on my mind for quite some time to get back to some of the roots. So for all of you fans that have kind of stuck with us since the Talk Radio 49 days, you will recognize one of my co-hosts. He was the co-host with me on Mike and Mike at Night and the Sports Flunkies, as well as the Midweek Sports Draft. We went through quite a few names on that show. Mr. Mike Pettis. Mike, how are you doing today?
Oh, man, couldn't be better. Happy to be here, Mike. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you again. Glad to have you back in the family. Glad to be back talking sports, man. It's been a while.
Definitely it has.
And, of course, my co-host for tomorrow's show, the wrestling wrap-up with Michael and Aaron. Mr. Aaron, how are you doing this week?
Doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Couldn't be better, Aaron. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, man, glad to be here. Like I said, talking sports again. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. The 2021 draft, NFL draft, we know who's going number one. We know that the Jacksonville Jaguars cannot screw this up. They'll be taking Trevor Lawrence. But how is this going to shake out from there? And we have a story from ESPN on this.
Field, give me a bold prediction that's going to come true.
All right, Rashawn Slater from Football Factory Northwestern will be the first offensive lineman off the board, Greeny, ahead of Penei Sewell from Oregon. Of course, a prodigious talent who opted out of this past season. But give me Slater, an athletic freak, a guy who has some room to grow in terms of being a technician. But this is a player who I think will be the first offensive lineman off the board when it's all said and done.
I love it. Started a season at right tackle, a season at left tackle, opted out 2020, but does figure to go top 10 or thereabouts. Mike T, give me a bold prediction that's going to come true.
You know, Greeny, to your credit, you planned this seat a couple weeks ago. Everyone's talking about the top 5 quarterbacks. I say the 6th quarterback goes number 32 overall. It's the same play that the great Ozzie Newsome in Baltimore ran a couple years ago when they traded up for Lamar Jackson. Kyle Trask, University of Florida, will be the 6th and final quarterback taken in the first round, 32nd overall. Had unbelievable production, guys. He threw for over 68. He had 68 touchdowns, over 4,000 yards this year. Not the athlete that others have, but I think a team like Chicago could trade up from the 52nd pick to the 32nd pick to go get Kyle Trask and get the 5th year on his contract.
Yeah, that's the big piece of it there. With that quarterback, you get that 5th year for the team that drafts them. I agree with that. I don't agree with which quarterback it'll be, but I do believe there will be a 6th at the end of the first round. Orlovsky, give me a bold prediction.
Well, I'm going to take that and run with it like a baton. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go back into the first round and draft their quarterback of the future. I could absolutely see it being Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask, a guy, I called a couple of his games at Florida this year. Really good player. Great ball placement, good accuracy, good pocket movement, all that stuff. And I loved how he kind of hung and waited for his turn at Florida. When he got his opportunity, absolutely excelled. I could also see it being Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond is a player out of Texas A&M that learned for 3 years under Jimbo Fisher and just got better and better and better. Matt Canada, the new offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, comes from the college game. I'm sure he's had conversations with Jimbo Fisher of the talent and the intellect that Kellen Mond has. I could see the Steelers taking either of those guys for their future.
Yeah, I love both of those. Mike T, let me come back to you quickly. I think this is more important than me getting a prediction in here. The Steelers pick at 24. Is 24 too early for what Dan is talking about? Is 24 too early for the Steelers to be taking the 6th quarterback in this draft?
No, absolutely not. When you have a guy like Mond or Davis Mills, who I know you like, Greeny, and he's there, again, you're getting 5 years on the contract. Take the quarterback, let him sit for a year behind Ben, and then the rest is history. So there's still good value. You rather do it at 32, pick up an extra pick, but 24 is perfectly fine.
Yeah, there's one way to look at it, either way, depending on how you do it. And my prediction has been the same. If you listen to my radio show, I've been saying that I've never wavered. Everyone reports that Mac Jones is going to be the 3rd pick. Vegas says Justin Fields is going to be the 3rd pick. I've never changed my mind. I think San Francisco is taking Trey Lance. From the moment they traded up, I said that day, they're going up there to get Trey Lance. It is the plan. It is the Patrick Mahomes plan. One more season of Garoppolo. Lance needs a season to sit and learn. And then 2 years from now, he becomes their Patrick Mahomes. I've never changed my mind. I'm dying on that hill. Thank you for watching.
So let's kind of talk about some of this and kind of digest some of these things that they talked about there. I mean, a big, big move if what happens for my Steelers comes true, if what they're predicting. I'll say this much, in my opinion, as far as that goes, I think 24 is too quick for a quarterback. We have a need at running back that we need to address. I believe Najee Harris or Travis Etienne will be the pick for the Steelers at that position. I don't know that we trade back into the 1st round to get a Trask or a Mond rather than maybe let it fall to us. I don't know how I feel about that, Mike.
I don't know, Mike. I mean, take a running back at 24 that early, man. I mean, you're kind of going against the grain there. Usually they don't take running backs that early. It's rare. So you kind of have to guard against that because we know the longevity and the life expectancy of running backs in the NFL. What is it? Maybe
5 years, just about.
Yeah, and that's pushing it, Mike. I'll say,
yeah.
One bad injury, you're in trouble. So do you spend that pick on a running back, or do you value another position such as offensive line or tight end or defensive line? I really don't know what all the Pittsburgh Steelers need. But I think you can get a running back late in the draft or through free agency.
Do you think we're in a position right now where we have to have a quarterback? Do you think a lot of people are saying this is it for Ben, but we've been saying that for about 5 years now?
Man, I admire the Steelers franchise. Anytime you have, 3 coaches in 50 years, I mean, just the level of stability and consistency, they set the bar, so they make good decisions. They draft well, they draft well, and Pittsburgh's one of the franchises that love their players. It's a players' franchise. They buy into their players, and they keep them around a long time, as long as they're valuable, as long as they're still producing. So look at Ben.
Very true. Very true.
Like it's time to get a quarterback. Now, I just don't think you have to get one this early because it's a crapshoot, guys.
Right. After those first 5.
It could be Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So you have to be careful, man. It's a lot of great talent in the draft. So you can find late great talent. That's why I alluded to them being great at, player evaluation and getting good players in their organization. So I would kind of be patient, Mike, but I would definitely look at getting a quarterback in the draft. But not that high. A running back either. Just the key positions, offensive line,
right. And that's what Pittsburgh's not known for going for the fancy pick. I mean, the last time we took a skill position in the 1st round, I think was Ben. Maybe was Juju a 1st round?
I think so.
Maybe Juju.
A late 1st round pick, but as you can see, he's a 1st rounder. So,
right, absolutely.
Yeah, so they draft well, Mike. That's the type of franchise that doesn't have to be desperate for those, those positions early in the draft.
Very true. Very true. Aaron, what do you think? Do you think Pittsburgh gets quarterback hungry, or do you think they're going to go running back, or where do you think they're going to go with this? How this is going to play out?
I have to admit, being a non-Pittsburgh fan, last year was the first time I really watched a lot of their games because they were on TV so much because they were undefeated.
Right.
And the offensive line, that's where their problem is. I mean, Ben was getting rushed like crazy those last 5 or 6 games. That's why he played so poorly, because his offensive, he had no protection. And yeah, they definitely need a quarterback. I mean, what is he, like 38, 39 years old right now? And injuries,
something like that.
Lots of injuries. So yeah, they're going to need a quarterback. But Trask and Mon, to me, they're both NFL players, but they're both guys that are going to take a couple of years anyway to develop. So, and you can get them second, third, fourth round. You can get them later in the draft. It wouldn't make any sense to draft them in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think that they're the type of caliber of player that you have to draft up. That's the type of quarterback you let fall to you.
Yeah,
exactly. And Mike Tomlin has proven. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan, but I'm a Mike Tomlin fan. He's proven how great he is, and he's really good at this as evaluating talent. I mean, they've had just an incredibly talented team for the last 15, 20 years.
Incredibly talented.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing. I would trust whatever he goes to get in the first round is what he thinks he needs. So
very true, very true. Now, another interesting thing, though, Greeny there said that he thinks that the 49ers are going to take Trey Lance, not Mac Jones, not the quarterback out of Ohio State whose name is escaping me for God knows what reason, Justin Fields. Not Justin Fields. But here's the thing with Justin. As much as I've been on board with Justin Fields being the top pick, they just came out this week and he said that he's fighting epilepsy. That could be a problem because Justin's a mobile quarterback. He's going to take some hits, and he's a little small. Do you take Mac? Do you possibly look at somebody like Trey Lance? I'll start with the 49er fan here, Pettis.
Man, I've been torn up by this since we traded up to 3. Let's start with Mr. McCorkle-Jones. I think the kid is going to be a good NFL player. But, guys, let's be honest. I'm at the University of Alabama. I have the best tight end, the best tackle, the best center, the best receiver, the best. I have the best of the best.
Very true.
So, is that obscured by my talent? Am I really talented? Am I in a system where almost succeed no matter what? I think Mac Jones is a smart kid. He processes information fast. He knows where to go with the ball. He's a great leader, a great teammate. But do you mortgage your franchise?
That's a lot of money.
Now listen, John Lynch and Cal Shanahan has had one winning season in 4 years. Remember that. Now the Super Bowl run kind of put blinders on people. They don't see that. This is huge, guys. You screw this up, you set that franchise back another 5-10 years.
Easy.
So you have to be careful. You mortgage 3 first-round picks to move up to 3rd to draft Jimmy G 2.0. If you're going to do that, we've seen the transition of the NFL. We see Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, that situation. But Deshaun Watson, you need an athlete at quarterback that can also make plays with his feet. Not necessarily running, but keeping a play alive long enough to deliver the ball to your athletes. You don't have to be Lamar Jackson, but you have to be a decent athlete. Is McCorkle a decent athlete? I don't know, guys. You just don't mortgage your future for a player like that you could get later in the draft, as we said earlier. If we wanted him, he would be there at 12.
Oh yeah. And that's what kind of made it a little bit, unless there's something about Mac that we don't know, That's what made it shocking to me. I thought, okay, they're definitely going after Fields. No question about it. They're getting Justin Fields. But then they start talking about how Shanahan went to Alabama's pro day and watched Mac throw. And I'm just sitting here going, why? What are you doing, dude?
I'm trying to make myself, I'm preparing myself with the third pick in the 2020, because I'm trying not to be pissed off. It's about team. I'm trying not to be a fanatic, guys.
Right.
I'm trying to look at, okay, it's for the better of the team, but is this guy a transitional athlete? Is this guy a generational talent? That's what you're mortgaging for whoever you pick. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields could be a bust. We don't know. Trey Lance could be a bust. But at least one thing this guy's a big-time athlete, a smart quarterback with a big cannon. Can you check those off with McCorkle? I can't.
I mean, my thing is not only – I think once you go to the deep ball with Mac, you have a problem with, accuracy. I think, he's a Ben type player. Even Ben's not this, but Mac is a statue in the pocket. Mac doesn't move. He's going to have guys coming at him in that NFC West.
Who does that sound like?
Constantly.
Who does that sound like? It sounds like old Playboy Jimmy G in the Bay.
Very true.
You have to have pocket presence, man, where you're active in the pocket. You know how they say they see ghost guys? Jimmy G see ghosts every time he drops back.
Well, I mean, damn, every time he drops back, he tears a quad.
Look at his feet, man. It makes you so nervous because if you're thinking about getting hit or you're thinking about this DN bearing down on you, you definitely can't concentrate on getting the ball to Deebo Samuels or getting the ball to George Kittles or getting the ball to one of your playmakers, which is very important. That's what bothers me about Mac Jones. He didn't have to worry about that at Alabama.
Very true.
How many times did he really get pressured? I mean, I've seen some good things out of the kid.
Dude was behind an NFL offensive line, yeah.
Man, it's a different ball game in the NFL, man. So I'm terrified.
Absolutely.
I'm terrified.
Aaron, what are you thinking as far as where San Francisco should go with this? Are you thinking Trey Lance, Mac Jones? Does the epilepsy issues with Fields bother you?
It worries me because I'm a huge Justin Fields fan. I think the guy's money. But when I heard about that, I'm like, man, that's going to hurt, and that's going to. Somebody will take a chance on him, no doubt about it, because he's so good. But do you want to take a chance on him at number 3 and knowing he might not be around for very long, might not be able to play very long? It is a lot of money, a lot of investment, and Trey Lance. I don't know. I've watched him. I'm not one of those people that says, "Oh, you played FCS, so I'm going to downgrade you." I mean, there's plenty of really great players in the FCS.
Right.
But he hasn't played a whole lot of football either. I mean, he had one game in the past 18 months, and that was against UCA. And to be honest with you, I watched that game because I'm a UCA fan too. He didn't play that well. They won.
Like he looked bad.
He didn't play all that well. So
he looked bad.
I don't. To me, it's a big risk. Mac Jones, there's an Alabama stigma. Like if you go to Alabama, you're automatically a first-round pick. It doesn't matter what you did or who you. It's like people just look at, oh, you went to Alabama, so we're going to draft you high because you played for Nick Saban. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, it's paid off. But they're kind of in a rock and a hard place now because no matter who you pick, somebody's going to be people. Their fan base is not going to be completely happy with no matter who they pick at this point.
But here's the thing with that. Here's the thing that we're not looking at that I'm surprised we haven't brought up too. How successful are Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL under Nick Saban? Not very.
Joe Burrow.
So,
am I right?
I mean,
good point.
I guess technically Tua. I mean, the jury's still out for me on Tua.
We're gauging success by the NFL.
Well, yeah, they didn't even let him play the whole season.
Are we gauging success by NFL success? Right?
I mean, that's where I would have to look for because you're going to need NFL. to show that you have the pedigree to build an NFL quarterback, you've got to show that you've got these guys in the NFL and they've succeeded. And so far, has Nick had a quarterback that has made a Pro Bowl?
No. You have to go back to
Not that I think.
You have to go back to Broadway Joe or freaking Bill Curry, somebody that was successful in the league. So
right.
So like Aaron alluded to, we're really in a hard position, man, because whatever you do, you're not going to satisfy everybody. The fan base can be pissed off anyway.
Very true.
But my thing is, if you're such a quarterback guru, and I think he's a great offensive mind, if you're such a quarterback guru and such this big-time offensive mind, take on the challenge. Develop a Trey Lance.
Oh.
Okay? To me, and I read an article about it, and it really opened my mind to it because it was saying, okay, well, why are you taking the sure thing if you think this guy's sure thing? And let's face it, his ceiling is here. Trey Lance's ceiling is here from the standpoint.
Right.
From the size, the athleticism, the arm. The kid is smart, too. I get the level of competition and, all that kind of stuff, but he could develop the ceiling. I think McCorkle has topped out. What if he has okay talent on his team? What if he has mediocre talent? He had NFL talent in Alabama. That's what scares you too.
Very true.
So, it's hard to say, Mike and Aaron. It's hard to say.
You're between.
I'm terrified.
Did they give up that 12? Did they give up that 12 to move up to 3?
Yes.
Shit. I was about to say, if you still have that 12, maybe, honestly, you look at one of the receivers. But if you only have one first-rounder still in your pocket, yeah, you got to go quarterback here. And this is a rock and a hard place here because you can't get it wrong because you're married. I mean, look at Jamarcus Russell. You're married to that kid.
Guys, do you draft to a system or do you draft the best available talent at that position?
Oof.
What if that coach isn't there? What if that regime leaves and you drafted to a position? You can draft a talented, athletic guy that can adjust to any scheme. You see what I mean?
That's a good point.
We don't need no Mitch Trubisky, guys.
Oh,
That's what we're afraid of.
Right.
You see more Mitchell Trubisky's than Josh Allen's.
Right.
And it's a crapshoot. We get it. But you got to do all your due diligence to try to get it right. And I'm going to tell you this, you got a lot of people's job that is on the line.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
When they told the owner what they were doing, when they told Jeb York, hey, let's mortgage the next 5 seasons, to try to move up. He's like, okay, I tell you what, don't buy that house.
And that's exactly what they've done here. They really have. They mortgaged themselves.
Not for long, NFL, it. So we'll see.
I mean, let's be honest here. If this doesn't work out, and I know Shanahan knows this, but if this doesn't work out, Super Bowl appearance last year or not, he's probably got 3 years to make it at least playoffs, if not a deep run. So he better hit on this.
Guys, you want me to be honest? Because I stay on the message board with the faithful, being an avid fan for 30 plus years. They don't give a damn. We don't give a damn about their Super Bowl appearances. We're pissed off because we lost.
Right.
He gets more flack for not running the ball in the fourth quarter and Jimmy G choking than the fact he got there. So let's say that.
Very true.
So that Super Bowl appearance is out the door. You had one winning season in 4.5 years.
I mean, let's be honest here. Harbaugh came in with his pants on fire, and he was gone, 2 years after their Super Bowl appearance. So, I mean, it's not unheard of.
Right. So, we'll see.
It's not unheard of by any stretch. Okay, guys, real quick before we move on, I did want to bring this up. The quarterback that we're really not talking about, they have in this mock draft that I'm looking at on NFL.com, they have Zach Wilson going number 2, or Max Wilson, excuse me, going number 2 to the New York Jets. I don't know how to feel about this Wilson kid. I feel like he is kind of a Daniel Jones, just a kid that I'm not sure. He's got the success, but it seems like whenever he played the big game, like we'll say this year against Coastal Carolina, for example, he folded. And he's going to be literally on an island as probably the best player on that New York Jets franchise. I don't see Zach Wilson being that guy that you risk a number 2 on, especially when you really could have kept Darnold and let Darnold continue to develop. I'm not sold that Darnold isn't eventually going to develop into a somewhat serviceable, at least, NFL quarterback. And you're putting this kid in at number 2. I don't know how to feel about that. Aaron, we'll start with you this time.
Well, yeah, I don't either. But also, if I'm Zach Wilson, I'm begging the Jets not to draft me because I do not want to. I would not want to play for the Jets. They
I feel that.
Oh man, I feel bad for him as much as I do the Jets at this point. I mean, well, anyway, but but yeah, he had he had some good games and some not so good games, and it also doesn't help that he played at BYU where we really didn't get to see him a whole heck of a lot because he was up in the West Coast and not on TV a whole heck of a lot. But that Coastal Carolina game, I don't hold nothing against either one of those teams because that was so last minute. I mean, that game was announced on Thursday and they played on Saturday, so they had no time to prepare. And Coastal Carolina was just a really, really good team too. So it was really two good teams. They had to travel all the way across the country to play it. But yeah, I don't think he's number 2 pick worthy at all. I never did. I don't see why they put him up on that pedestal so quickly. I don't think he's. I'm not saying he won't be good. I think he'll be very good. But that's an awful lot of pressure to put on somebody who nobody really even heard of this time last year.
Pre-epilepsy, I thought that it was going to be Justin Fields going to the Jets. Pre-epilepsy. But now with the epilepsy thing, you got to kind of question things. But, I mean, what do you feel about this Max Wilson to the Jets?
Man, it's a crapshoot. I mean, I like Zach Wilson. And I think the upside is there because he checks the boxes. I think he has an it factor. I think he has a big-time arm. I think he has good athleticism. Guys, look, it's a copycat league. I mean, look at, Lamar Jackson, like I said, Josh Allen. Them guys are fearless. They're leaders. They have strong arms. They buy a lot of time with their feet. It's a copycat league. Everybody's looking for the next Patrick Mahomes. And like we said earlier, most people are going to find the next Mitchell Trubisky. So is this guy worth the number 2 pick? Probably not. I don't think we would really be talking about this if it wasn't the Jets.
Right. Very true. And, the last thing before we move on, I want to ask you guys, is this quarterback class, when we look back and say, we'll give it 10 years, are we going to look back at this class and say it was hyped up to a level that it couldn't reach? Or is it going to live up to, this hoopla that everybody's putting around these, top 5 quarterbacks? We really haven't seen a quarterback class with this much craze around it since, 2004 with Ben, Eli, and Phillip Rivers.
That's the harder position to play in sports, man, quarterback. That's why it's the most coveted and the most praised. And that's why you get the most flack and, I guess, disdain when you don't succeed. So with that being said, I'm going to say no because the law of averages says no, right?
Right.
The law of averages said no. You want to say, man, it has the potential, but, man, that's a lot to ask. If you get 3 Hall of Famers out of this group, 2 Hall of Famers out of the group, it's a success. But that's a lot to ask within itself, especially just with the unknowns. I mean, let's go to Justin Fields with the epilepsy, which I think he has a better chance of getting struck by lightning than it affected him because he's dealt with it his whole life.
True.
Scouts and teams aren't going to look at it like that because they're investing. They're going to invest
a lot of money, right?
Yeah, they're going to look at that totally different. Trevor Lawrence is coming off a couple of injuries. that we really don't know about. Zach Wilson, you know, the level of competition, we just don't know, man. That's why you do all your work and due diligence and make the best possible pick as a group. You know, Trevor Lawrence could be the bust after group.
That would be interesting because you know we're the
we don't know, and
we're the ones that think he's the shoe-in.
Watch out for Kellen Mond and that trash kid. I think they're good quarterbacks, man.
Well, until this year, they were talking about Trask as a first rounder. Until this year, so yeah, absolutely. Aaron, what do you think? Do you think we're going to remember this quarterback class as a bust or a boom?
I got to go with Mike, probably a bust. And it's just because, like he said, the law of averages say that. And at the end of the day, all these quarterbacks have amazing upside, but they all also have some questions, which I guess everybody does. But, I mean, if you're investing that much money into your quarterbacks, you know, like Mac Jones, we'll throw him out there because we were talking about him earlier. He doesn't have the rocket arm. He doesn't have the accurate deep ball. And the fact that he played at Alabama could be a detriment. Because, I mean, like Mike said, like Mike Pettis said, he had so many NFL players on that team. It was almost unfair. It was like you were playing against – it's like your college team playing against a high school team or something.
Right.
So now he's going to have guys even more talented than him on the other side. It's not going to be as easy. So, you know, and with Justin Fields, he may play a whole career and not have an issue, or he may. We don't know. So the law of averages say it's not going to be remembered fondly. But yeah, hopefully I'm wrong, because I like to see them all come out and play well. But, you know.
Well, and I mean, let's be honest. We usually get, you know, of these, when we get these quarterback classes, usually we will get one that'll be, you know, worth the hype. So it'll be interesting to see, number one, like you said, Trevor Lawrence, the guy who we think's a shoe-in. Shoot, we all thought Jamarcus Russell was the best thing walking in 2007, and we saw what happened there. So, I mean, we could be walking into Trevor Lawrence making some mistakes. Who knows what's going to happen there as he's getting ready to play under a guy that we don't know how well Urban's system is going to transition into the NFL. That'll be interesting to keep an eye on, but we'll keep an eye on this class, and who knows? We may, if we can get together and work it out, we may do a live stream Thursday night for the first round and talk about these picks as they come in, if we can work it out with everybody. But we'll go ahead and move on to tonight's UFC 261. And we were kind of talking about this beforehand. It's been a while since we've all watched the UFC, so we don't know a lot of people on these cards. So we'll try to give our predictions as good as possible. But I do want to show the highlights from Phony Turgeson on YouTube of the first fight between Masvidal and Usman.
Masvidal is in the red trunks. Kamaru Usman in the black and gold, befitting a champion.
Look at the speed. Masvidal slick. He's got to be careful with that. That's the problem against the wrestler, throwing low kicks. They're going to catch it. They're going to take you down. This is bad for Masvidal.
You've already seen some early stance switches out of Jorge Masvidal.
Good shot. Nice knees. Man, I'm telling you, Masvidal looks very sharp here tonight. And that's because he hasn't killed himself in training camp. Oh, there's that switch that knocks out Darren Till.
Jab from Usman and a left-hand connection for Gamebred.
You see, when Usman tries to engage in a stand-up battle, he's getting clipped, he's getting caught. Masvidal's got real power. Usman needs to shoot.
Usman trying to bull his way inside. Right hand over the top for Gamebred. Usman rips the body.
Big opening round for the challenger.
Well, essentially, they feel like Masvidal only has 10 or more of those offensive outbursts before the gas tank starts.
Okay. I mean, maybe, you know, but who knows? You know, a little sloppy there, but it's not a smart strategy. That was a good shot, though. Usman got his attention there. He's not exerting too much energy, he's just staying relaxed. Usman's not giving him much. He's not hurting him, so he's like, I'm not going to expect so much energy to escape this position when I'm not in any threat. Ooh, turning it on there.
Masvidal, the body just misses with the right hand counter. Didn't miss with that one.
Then Masvidal hands down. Oh, there's that shot again. The exact same stutter step, switches stances. Slicker, he's faster. Slow him down. Get hold of him. Tie him up. Spoil the fight. Take it out of him. And then look to take him out in the later rounds.
More than a round total of clinch control time. Usman has stayed busy through much of that. Nice kick to the body from Gabriel.
Yeah, real whip to that kick.
Try to just extend things and bide his time.
Oh, nice entry though. Look at that. Very, very nice.
And those in the red corner of Kamaru Usman.
Whoa. Wow. Big takedown.
Double the elbow.
Look at that. And that was a big explosion from Masvidal, Benson, and Gilbert. You know, short. Usman's a much bigger, stronger, more powerful man. Tremendous fighter, though. I didn't mean any disrespect, but Usman.
Now a level change. Oh, and a big left.
Good shot there. Isn't having his way with Jorge here. Jorge had a nice little flurry there. Some elbows.
Now right.
Certainly on 6 days' notice, more than understandable. But he's still dangerous. Still defending takedowns. Still firing back offense, but that was a big left hook for Usman. Oh, and again, a nice one.
Oh. Looked like a pretty good counter shot from Masvidal, but...
Oh, look at that. Turn the corner. Too good. So nice. Very, very good. Got him off the fence.
For the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed UFC welterweight champion of the world, Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman.
Okay, gentlemen, so tonight we have the rematch. Now, I do want to throw some things out there to you guys. First off, Masvidal, the challenger in those clips, took that fight on 7 days' notice. Masvidal, known for his power, he's a hell of a striker. He actually owns now the fastest KO in UFC history when he knocked out Ben Askren with a flying knee. And I think it was something like 3 or 5 seconds. It was pretty quick. But I'm going to have to ride with Masvidal on this one. I think Usman is good, but with more than 7 days' notice, Masvidal is a hell of a striker. The wrestler, I mean, Usman's power is going to be his wrestling, but if he can't take Masvidal down, then he's in trouble, in my opinion. And I think that's where Masvidal is going to pick up the victory and win the UFC welterweight title tonight. Pettis, how do you see the main event?
Man, you know what? I don't watch a lot of UFC, but I do keep up with marquee fights. And I see both fighters have championship pedigree, you know, due to it being a sequel or second match. Man, I kind of like Masvidal. I think both are good. You know, both are formidable, but just the last weigh-in, he was just loose. You know, it seemed like he's having fun. Like, it's not really – anytime somebody's kneeing you in the face and kicking you and trying to knock your teeth out of your mouth, and he's having fun.
Right.
And he's smiling about it, he's kind of dangerous, man. I like Masvidal. In the last weigh-in, you could read his lips. He said, I'm going to – you know what I mean? And he's
You're right. Absolutely.
So, you know, he's loose. I think it'll go to distance, but I think Masvidal will come out on top.
Aaron, what are you thinking? Masvidal going to get the retribution tonight?
I think so. And honestly, until about 2 minutes ago, I hadn't made a prediction yet. I didn't know. I didn't. I was kind of going back and forth until you mentioned the fact I didn't think about. Masvidal's a striker. Usman's a wrestler, and I'll take a striker over a wrestler any day because if the wrestler can get him down, then yeah, he's obviously got the advantage. But you got to be able to get him down, and a striker can knock you out, can catch you off guard just like that, and it's over. So I'll take a striker. If I have to go 50-50 make a prediction, I'll take a striker over a wrestler.
Absolutely.
Hey, Aaron, it's funny you said that, buddy.
Yeah.
Did y'all notice one thing about Usman? When he tries to take you down or gets to his grappling or his wrestling, he comes in with this, y'all know what's coming, don't you?
Right. Absolutely. He could look for that knee again.
He catch that knee, it ain't going the distance, guys.
Oh, no. He's going night-night if he catches that knee again.
Right. So
okay.
His game or his tactic, or he's going to sleep. But Masvidal, I agree, guys.
So it looks like we're all taking Masvidal. The co-main event of the evening is Zhang Weili, I guess is how you say the name, versus Rose Namajunas. And Rose is known probably best for defeating Joanna Jędrzejczyk, or Joanna Champion, as they sometimes called her because her last name is hard as hell to pronounce. But she's known for that upset, but she hasn't really done much since. Now she's getting a shot at the women's strawweight title, trying to regain the title that she lost. Rose, I mean, my thing with Rose is she got lucky with Joanna. A lot of people didn't expect her to be there. She caught the punch at the right time. She timed it up. I think it's a lot like the Weidman, who we'll talk about here in a little bit, the Chris Weidman situation with Anderson Silva. Right place, right time. I've got to go with the champ on this one, and the title's going to stay with Zhang Weili, or however you say her name.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, it's hard not to go with the champion, whether you know much about him or not, especially considering what happened the last fight. So definitely go
right. Absolutely. Aaron, you going to stick with the champ?
Yeah. I honestly know nothing about either one of these ladies. I got to be perfectly honest with you.
Me either.
But if I'm gonna predict champ versus challenger, I'm gonna take the champ until they're beaten. So just give me the champ.
Okay. So we have a third title fight. This is kind of rare for the UFC, but we do have a third title fight on the card, the women's flyweight title. We have Valentina Shlevenko versus Jessica Andrade. Andrade's been around the UFC for quite some time. She's kind of she's never really had much of an opportunity. She won the strawweight title from Rose Namajunas that we talked about earlier, but then she lost it to the current champion in the very next fight. Since then, she lost a split decision to Rose and then won a knockout against Caitlin Chukagian, and that's what led her to tonight. And then Valentina Shlevenko, this woman has been pretty damn dominant as of late here in the UFC. She's got a record of 20-3. Her only losses in the UFC is to Amanda Nunes. I mean, and I think we all know how badass Amanda Nunes is. So I mean, I got to go with Valentina. She's probably going to run through this girl tonight. Pettis?
Valentina it is.
What about you, Aaron? What you think? You think Valentina's going to be able to beat the shit out of another challenger?
Probably so, but for the sake of being different, I'll go with Jessica Andrade. I've seen her fight a few times at least, so I know more about her than I do the other girl. I know the other girl's record. I've seen highlights of her fights. I know she's a badass, but I'm just, for the sake of being different, I'll go with Andrade.
Okay. Definitely could be could pick up for you. Okay, so two guys that have been around the UFC for quite some time in the middleweight division. We have Uriah Hall taking on former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman. And, I mean, we talked about it earlier. Weidman, since the Anderson Silva situation, I mean, you got the KO loss to Michael Bisping, an old Michael Bisping. And really, he hasn't done much since. He's kind of faded into obscurity, and a lot of people, now believe that he got lucky in that Silva fight against a guy like Uriah Hall, a guy who I had a lot of faith in when I first saw him. But, I mean, Hall has never really lived up to the hype. He actually, in his last fight, though, did get a TKO victory over Anderson Silva. But any big fight he's had, he's really lost, and he's lost decisively by TKO. I don't know how to take this one though, because Weidman isn't known as a striker. Weidman's a wrestler. So I'm gonna take Uriah Hall to finally pick up a big time victory on the main card here tonight over Chris Weidman. I think his time has passed. Pettis?
Man, fortunately, I do know a little bit about both of these fighters. I like Weidman. I think he's he's kind of under the card, underdog type fighter. I think he's going to come in and being on this stage, being UFC 261, I think it's the opportunity to capture some of that glory back, man. I think he's going to be deep inside and pull this one off.
Okay, so you're going to go Chris Weidman. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm going Weidman too, and I almost sound like a hypocrite because I said earlier I would never take a wrestler over a striker. But Weidman, I've watched him for a long time, or quite a while, and so I know he has the potential to pull out a big time fight and win a big time fight against anybody he wants to. And
Absolutely.
this is a chance. This is a chance on pay-per-view, the undercard of a huge night with 3 title fights. He's got a chance to kind of throw himself back in the mix. And this is probably the opportunity he's been looking for. So Uriah Hall's a great fighter. I know I've seen a lot of him too, but I'm going Chris Weidman.
Okay. Out on an island by myself here, taking Uriah Hall. Next up in the light heavyweight division, we have Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute. And this is one that I know nothing about these gentlemen. Smith comes in with a 34-16 record. His last win, or his last time out, was a win against Devin Clark. Now, here's a name that he does own a victory over. He does own a victory over Alexander Gustafsson by rear naked choke. He did challenge for the UFC light heavyweight championship, but lost the unanimous decision to John Jones back at UFC 235. So Anthony Smith has been around for quite some time and fought at a high level. Then we have the 12-1 Jimmy Crute, and most of his wins have not gone to decision. They're either a knockout or a submission. It seems like they may be throwing the veteran Anthony Smith to Crute here. I'm going to take Smith. I think the experience in the octagon, this is a step up for Crute. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Anthony Smith on this one.
I don't know much about both of them, but just listening to you, I'm going to go with the young cub, man. I think he's hungry. I think he has a lot to prove. And from his previous fights, you said what? Submission or what?
Submission or knockout for the most part, yeah.
That tells me one thing. He's going for blood, so I'm going to go with him.
Okay. Aaron, who you got? You got Crute or you got Anthony Smith?
Well, just like you two, I know nothing about either one of these guys, but going by what you said a minute ago, I'll take the experienced guy. I'll take Smith. And it's mostly because has Crute been on pay-per-view? I mean, that's one thing I don't know that maybe some people don't fully think about, but the pressure of being on an undercard, like a preliminary thing on ESPN or Fox Sports 1 or UFC Fight Pass or whatever is a little bit different than being on the main card on a pay-per-view. And if you've never been there,
this will be his second fight, his first since February of 2019, his second pay-per-view fight, I mean. Okay.
So maybe it won't be as big a deal to him, but if it's your first time on a pay-per-view, it's got to be more pressure than fighting on, like I said, Fox Sports 1 or something and being on that main card. So, but I'll still go with the veteran Smith. I mean, he's had 50 fights. This other guy's 13. So I'll take the experience until the young guy proves me wrong.
Absolutely. Well, we'll move on here to Steph Curry. This guy has been lights out this season in the NBA. I mean, it hasn't translated to as much success as I'm sure he would hope, but he's still plugging away and showing kind of shades of the old Steph Curry, so to speak. We have a highlight tape from House of Highlights on this season thus far.
Who they acquired at the end of March by the trading deadline, been out with a right thumb injury. As Steph Curry gets on the board, his first three-pointer of the night.
Again, Seth is tremendous as a shooter, but if there's a problematic matchup in the playoffs, George gives you a different look.
Jake Milton, alley-oop, broken up beautifully by Draymond Green. And Damian Lee gets ahead of the pack and throws it down. Steph Curry goes back door and a give and go. Left-handed, flips it up and in. And there's that off-ball movement that is spectacular, Dor. Curry on Curry. Steph launches a three and hits it at the buzzer. Danny Green on Stephen Curry, floats it up and in.
Shuffling between Looney and Draymond, playing him. I have a question for you, Mike. Is Steph lets in? Oh, come on.
His brother's got 16. Make that 18.
His footwork in tight spaces is really remarkable.
Off the glass, beautiful move from Stephen Curry. Jake Milton off the bounce, drives, layup, missed. Curry pushes, finds Damian Lee, and Lee.
Shooting only 41%, but on the double teams of Joel, and there's kicking out and reversing, they're making shots. But Draymond Green and Kevon Looney with great backside support from the guys around them. Just Golden State playing their backsides off, and now Draymond gives them a little
3-point lead now for Philly. It's been a 10-point turnaround here in the fourth quarter. Curry to Draymond Green, lays it up and in.
Boy.
26 for the big man. 3-point Sixer lead. Curry for three, puts it in. Steph Curry hesitates on the jumper. Embiid on him, looking for Curry. Curry back to Green, short jumper, shot is good. Draymond Green.
From Mike, and then anticipate that next pass, and Embiid gets rid of it quick.
Curry for three, it's good. Steph Curry with his 7th three-pointer of the night.
Breather.
Seth on Steph. Curry for three, it's good. 8 3-pointers, and the lead is 4.
Decisively comes and makes it very difficult.
Curry, another three, bang! Steph Curry does it again. Curry magic working here. Curry behind the back, drives, pulls back, puts up a three, bang! 9 3-pointers make it now 10 for.
My God, that man is a human freaking cheat code.
Ridiculous, man.
That man is a human freaking cheat code. 43 points, in case you couldn't tell, or I think he actually ended with 47 that night. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I look at Steph Curry a lot like I looked at Westbrook the year he won MVP, I think in 16. He's a guy who's got to put the team on his back because there's not much left post Kevin Durant on that Warriors team. He still has Draymond, of course, Clay, hurt right now. But the thing is with this, I mean, yeah, absolutely. You've got to say that Steph Curry has turned it up to a level without a LeBron there, without AD being there for a while. Yeah, I mean, Steph Curry is out here looking like, his old self 8 years ago. The guy is amazing. And I'll be honest with you, he's my MVP thus far. Pettis?
Mike, this guy leads Golden State all-time in three-point attempts. Three-pointers made. The all-time leading scorer in franchise history. The all-time leading scorer. He's had 30 or more points in 11 straight games at the age of 33, breaking Kobe Bryant's record.
Jesus.
Of course, he's in the Hall of Fame conversation.
Oh, yeah.
With that being said, guys, the not Hall of Fame, forgive me, the MVP conversation. The MVP is an individual award, but it's based on team success.
Very true.
How many MVPs have you seen on a team below 500?
Good point. Good point.
In a brutal Western Conference, absolute brutal Western.
Oh yeah.
You're scratching and scraping to be at the bottom. 6, 7, and 8. So with that being said, yeah, he's an MVP candidate, However, he'll finish third or fourth because of team success.
Very good point. Very good point. Aaron, what do you think? You think Steph is a candidate? Is he in the conversation, or what do you think?
I think what Mike's saying is right, but I don't necessarily think that should be the case. I think that it's called the most valuable player award. I think it should go for the most valuable player, and for me, that's Steph Curry. And I've not always been his biggest fan, but I've never taken away the fact the guy wasn't amazing. And what he's doing this year is amazing. The team is decimated. There's, like you said, other than Draymond, there's nobody else there. It's Steph Curry and Draymond to a smaller degree, and that's it. And the fact that they're even in playoff contention is pretty amazing to me. That shows just how great Steph Curry's been all year. He probably won't win, but I think he should. I think he should.
Yeah,
especially if they end up in the playoff. If they end up in that top 8 seed, then he has to be.
I would agree. I think that you're right. You know, if you look into the factor of overall team success, you could be right, Pettis. We could possibly see a situation where we won't be talking about him being the MVP. But I mean, this guy is, like I said, he's a human freaking cheat code. And Steph Curry on any other team would be, he would be the man.
He's amazing.
No matter what, he's that guy. And unfortunately now, we're just in a position where the team's decimated post KD. This is what you see whenever, these super teams break up, is you see a lot of decimation left in their wake. That's kind of why I'm worried about the Lakers post LeBron. Luckily, we have AD still here, but, it's definitely getting to the point. I think, he's definitely a contender, but we'll see. The jury's out on whether he will win it. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to have one commercial here, about 2.5 minutes, and we'll be right back with some more talk, including the Yankees, a trade for one of the best offensive linemen in the league. And, of course, we'll talk some college baseball. You're watching the Natural State Sports Podcast on Podcast Network 49.
I'm about to go. You saw me here getting dressed all day, and you act like you can't get dressed. Had that T-shirt on, T-shirt and Swiss on all day, and I ain't washing them dishes either.
Wait.
What?
What's wrong? What you trying to leave for? You just yelling at me a second ago. What's up? What's wrong?
So you don't know?
No, I don't know. What's up?
It's 2021. I want to do bitch. I'm tired of being in the house. I done got quarantine thinking you won't take me out nowhere.
Look, baby, I love the quarantine thick. You got the yams. You doing everything I like. But what's wrong? Just talk to me. Tell me what's going on.
I want to go to the big stuff.
We can go do big stuff, but we got big stuff here. It's on TV.
It ain't the same.
Look, SmackDown, Raw. We got Roman Reigns on TV.
Huh?
Roman Reigns.
Who did he ever be?
You right. Well, what you want to see then?
I want to see Fat Jitsu. I want to see Ray Ray. I want to see Gaston. I want to see Mad Odom.
Mad Odom. So what you had like it's something going on tonight or something? What is you doing?
I ain't trying to walk around with this for nothing.
Where you trying to go then? Look, man, you sitting up here acting like I can read your mind, man. You giving these hints, but talk to me. You know I'm stupid. What's wrong?
If you don't get it by now, we done.
Man, you know what? I'm tired of this, man. My brother was right about you, man. If you want to go, you can step.
Okay, I'm going to have a hot girl summer.
Hold on, baby, please. Hold up. Come back. Come talk to me. I'm tripping. You know what? You right. I'm tripping. You right, I'm wrong. You smart, I'm dumb. You big, I'm small. I'm gonna go get dressed. I'm gonna take you where you wanna go. Alright?
Where?
I'm finna go to the wine mix.
Which one?
The Catalina wine mix.
Okay.
You know that.
Alright then.
He's trying to get
I'm addicted to the truth. It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
It's now time for the Natural State Sports Podcast with Michael Carnahan, Aaron, and Mike Pettis, where we take the biggest sports headlines across the spectrum that is sports, and we break it down for you, the fan. It's coming at you in just a moment.
Dave Roberts. I'm talking 5 comma 6 0 shot 0 tigger. Back to running circles round niggas, now we squared up. Hold up.
Life's a game, but it's not fair.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Natural State Sports Podcast. We got a lot to get to here in the second hour, but definitely want to give you a heads up. If you want to come see that event, the Battle at the Catalina Wine Mixer, go to eventbrite.com and go ahead and search it on up and get your tickets. Coming up, a great show. Finally bringing some indie wrestling back to North Little Rock. But let's get back into it. The question I have for you, gentlemen, can the New York Yankees recover, man? They have been terrible thus far. And we have a video here of some highlights from a game, I believe it was Friday, with the Yankees and I believe the Indians.
Domingo Germán will make his third start. The first two didn't go that well. Let's take a look at the scouting report.
Well, are you ready now? You have not pitched in the major league since April 10th. Went down to the site to work on the command on his fastball.
And here's Cesar Hernandez batting left-handed.
Lifted in the air, left center. Gardner racing in, makes the catch, and then bobbles it. And the ball pops out. And safe at first is Hernandez.
And a gift hit for Cesar Hernandez on a ball. Boy, you don't see Brett Gardner not make that play. So the Indians, with runners at second and third on 2 bloop hits. Eddie Rosario, the Indians' cleanup hitter.
Hard hit ground ball back in, and it gets by Ford. That'll score 1. Ramirez stops at third. And that's going to be an RBI single for Eddie Rosario. Nice diving attempt by Ford, but he could not corral the ball.
Ford, who's supposed to be an upgrade defensively at first, trying to make a backhanded play on a ball that wasn't hit all that hard. He didn't show much range on that. 1-0 Indians, runners at the corners. A pitch hit weakly back to the mound. Germán dropped the ball! He has no play! In to score! Ramirez! On what should have been an inning-ending double play. Germán on a little check swing roller, grabbed it, turned to start a double play with a throw to second, dropped the ball. Disastrous defensive first inning for New York, and have runners at first and second, and still only 1 man out. Now the pitch. A swing and a shot to right. There's a base hit. Rosario being waved home. Frazier's throw to the plate. Slide, tag, safe at the plate. It's 3-0 Indians. Josh Naylor with an RBI single to right, and the Indians are saying thank you very much to the New York Yankees and are actually taking advantage.
There's a runner at third with 1 out. Here's the big at bat in this inning. It's DJ LeMahieu to try to get the run in. Breaking ball is cut on and line to left. There's a base hit. So Higgy will score, and Rosario throws into second. It's a base hit. And an RBI for LeMahieu, and the Yankees now trail 3-1.
This goes to show you how good of a hitter he is. And another one right there. Big 2-out RBI. It's the Yankee, or 1-out RBI, my bad. Gets the Yankees on the board.
2 on, 2 out. Gleyber Torres, he drew the ire of Yankee fans and media. And last night he hit a comebacker to the mound, and he didn't really run. And
he was in the doghouse, no
Aaron
doubt.
Boone talked to him after the game.
And the pitch is swung on, hit in the air to right center. Cutting over his nailer, he can't get it, and he loses the ball. It rolls away all the way to the warning track. Both runs should be able to score. They do, and all the way to third goes Gleyber Torres, and we are tied at 3.
Well, I tell you what, it's kind of an awkward swing, and you know, he put the barrel on it, but it was kind of falling away for it. I think Naylor got a bad read on it. See this just kind of dunk in, and then all of a sudden ricochet off his shin. The Yankees are off to the races. Good break for the Yankees right here.
Well, if a hitter puts a charge into one tonight, you're going to be rewarded with that breeze blowing out. Swung on and hammered towards dead center. This ball near the wall, and it is going to be up against the wall into second. Reyes, he's going to turn and go for 3. Throw to third, slide, safe with a triple for the big man. Franmil Reyes with a triple to center. Not sure what happened out there with Aaron Hicks and Brett Gardner. And again, not a good defensive play by Aaron Hicks. Reyes gets a triple.
Runners on the corners for the Indians, bidding to take the lead here in the 4th.
Swung on, hit on the ground to second. From right field, Odor throws to first in time. So Odor was in the first base hole and made the play. Bases loaded, 2 out. Gardner has walked, struck out, and grounded to third.
A swing and a chopper on the third base side. Ramirez has it, goes to second for the force, and Shaw able to work out of it.
And the Yankees have another great chance, because now a base hit would mean 2 runs. Here is Rugi Odor. Swung on and grounded toward the middle, base hit, center field. Judge scores. Coming home is Torres. He scores. It is a 2-run base hit for Rugi Odor. That's a big hit, and the Yankees have missed that hit all year long. Well, Rugi Odor knocks in 2, and the Yankees take a 5-3 lead.
And this was down and on the outside corner. Just got it off the end of the bat, but it counts. And he did it, and the umpire, second base umpire, had to jump out of the way, and Hernandez tried to get that. Couldn't get it.
And here is Kyle Higashioka to lead off. Swung on and hit in the air to center and deep. That ball is gone over the center field wall. Higashioka, the home run stroker, hits one to dead center. He's going to be playing a lot, I think. And the Yankees take a 6-3 lead.
And Hickey with his 3rd homer of the year. He really does. You know, you put a fastball anywhere in that zone and he will crush it. It moved in on him 94 miles an hour. He's got a terrific swing, doesn't he, John?
Yes. That's what I mentioned. I mentioned it after his double. He'll be playing a lot.
Indians got 3 in the first, nothing since. And they got those 3 in the first. Bowers grounds one toward first. Easy play for Ford. And we'll go to the 9th. Gleyber Torres, the batter, 2 for 4, a couple of singles and RBI.
And that one is ripped to left field. It's another base hit for Gleyber Torres. So maybe yesterday, the criticism he received from his manager, meeting with his manager for not running out that ground ball, kind of woke up Gleyber Torres. He has 3 hits on the night. Hicks at third, Odor at second, Talkman is at first. Gardner at the plate, Yankees up by 3.
And a swing and a little weak pop into shallow left. Jimenez, the shortstop, will grab it. Good job by Perez. Bases loaded, 1 out. He got out of it, and because of that, the Yankees have to bring on their closer.
And Chapman ready for the 0-2. And a pitch caught on and missed at 101. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. Big win for the Yanks, down 3-0. Finally put some hits together with men on base.
Okay, so you saw a win there, but man, you saw a lot of bad stuff in there for the Yankees. I know we're a little early in the season to be talking about this, but man, they are 8-11 now as they stand. They've won their past 2 against the Indians. Maybe they can start putting something together. I don't think we're going to be able to talk about these guys as legitimate World Series contenders, but can we possibly see them put something together and maybe at least limp into the playoffs? I mean, salvage something for this season for the Yankees?
Man, It's 20 games into the season, Mike. This is it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's
Very true.
It's a 162 game grind, man. And then, I mean, history says the Yankees aren't hitting right now. That's the problem. The pitcher's there. DJ LeMahieu's hitting 274, which is above average for him. I mean, about average for him. He's close to a 300 career hitter. Giancarlo Stanton, below the Mendoza line, 180. Aaron Judge, 230. Gary Sanchez, what, 204? That's not going to last, man. They'll start.
Right.
You know, and they're 8 and what, 11? That's the
8
best
and 11, yeah.
team in the American League. Yeah, that won't last, man. They'll be a factor, you know. They'll definitely be in the AL East race.
Yeah.
And they'll definitely have a say in the whole thing in American League Conference. So don't give up on them too soon.
Okay. Aaron, do you think this is a lot of smoke, or do you think there's something to these Yankees and these errors that we're seeing in this hitting?
I think it's smoke. They'll be fine. The biggest problem for them is that AL East is better than people thought. I mean,
you're right.
You got the Rays, who obviously were in the World Series last year. The Orioles aren't playing terrible baseball. The Red Sox are playing pretty good ball. So, you know, it's a tough division. That's their biggest issue. They'll get the errors cleaned up. And as a Indians fan, their biggest thing to do is play the Cleveland Indians, because that's going to give them a bunch of wins right there.
That's true. That's true. But no, I mean, I'll give them credit. They you know, throughout all them errors, we still saw them manage to pull out the victory. You mentioned the Red Sox. The Red Sox right now sit on top of the AL East at 13-8. So I ask you the same question: is this smoke early on, or are the Red Sox legit?
I think they're better than people give them credit for. I think they'll hover around 500. But as far as division, that's going to be between the Indians and the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in two different. Forgive me. That's going to be between the Yankees and the Rays.
Yeah, the Yankees and the Rays. Right.
Yeah, I think
Aaron.
I think so too. Red Sox they're a decent team. They're not a bad team, but they're not going to win the AL East. So it's going to be the Yankees or Rays, and I think probably the Rays and Yankees win the wild card. Get a wild card. It's probably what I see. It's what I see happening.
I think the Rays are, you know, the Rays are a team that I haven't seen really slump since anything. They're still hitting their stride. I think the Rays are going to be a hell of a team to contend with. They're at 500 right now, but I think they're going to be a hell of a team to contend with once we get towards October. Okay. So we're going to get into this next topic here. We have a story we have a video from Undisputed on Fox Sports 1. LeBron James, on the day that the Derek Chauvin trial was, or the verdict was announced, we also had a 16-year-old girl, I believe, that was killed by police in an issue that involving a knife. LeBron James quickly tweeted, I believe it was something about, you know, justice will be served in this case too, or something like that. And he put a clock emoji on there to underscore that. And we have a story here with Undisputed on Fox Sports 1.
Understand that when he arrives on the scene, he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know her age. All he sees is what's going on, and he sees someone with a knife. Okay, his job is not only to protect himself, he has to protect everyday citizens also. So at that very moment, he must do his job, what's written on every police car, to protect and serve. He must protect those that might be in harm's way.
I'm getting chills talking about this because I would not have wanted to make that call.
No.
I wish to God that he could have used some kind of stun gun, some other kind of tactic to subdue her. But at that moment, let's do the opposite case. What if he waits and she stabs. And what if, let's do just the worst case scenario, what if she kills the other woman?
Then they're going to hold the police responsible because he should have done something. Because in that situation, he's damned if he do, damned if he doesn't. But the guy that came in and kicked the young lady, you should have been trying to defuse the situation and get the knife from Miss Bryant.
Okay.
I mean, the adults on the scene, you gotta be the adults in this situation, and we can't expect children to act and behave like adults in a situation like this.
Damn it, of course I was muted. Of course, I just wanted to show a little bit of that clip to get some of the idea of what we had going on here with this situation. But the question here that I'm going to ask is, should LeBron and other athletes, so I'm not the guy that says, shut up and dribble or anything like that. These guys have a platform. But that's a double-edged sword. Should LeBron have waited to say something like this or to put something like this out? Should he have waited to do that for, the body cam to come out and for us to see this? How do you feel about that? Do you think LeBron was within what he should have done to tweet that out? Or do you think, he probably should have waited a little while longer? Pettis?
It's hard to say. I mean, half full and half empty. You can say, well, it initially happened. Maybe he didn't process the situation thoroughly and he began to tweet. But he also deleted it, so maybe he thought about it,
Very true.
Typing. So these guys do have a platform, man. My whole thing with that, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Sometimes they get backlash if they don't say anything.
Very
As far
true.
as a polarizing athlete like LeBron, he does it so much that people expect him to say something. So if he does, he may get praised, he may get ridiculed. My whole thing is, as long as you don't respect the victims and the family, man, because we got to remember someone lost their life. So
Absolutely.
I'm more so on that end, show humility for the situation and for the, for the friends and family. Now, them guys gonna say what they want to. We know it's a free country, man. You just, to answer your question, you definitely got to be careful what you say.
Right.
Like I say, with a polarizing athlete like that guy, he's gonna comment on things. He's gonna say something. Some people gonna like it. Some people gonna hate it. But as long as he respect the families in the situation, I'm okay with it. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with everything he says. I'm not saying that.
Right.
What I'm saying is, as long as he respect the people and the victims that are involved, talk about it. Let's have dialogue.
Well, and before I bring this to you, Aaron, I want to point out, this was in the glow, so to speak, of the Chauvin verdict had just been announced. So, everybody's feeling themselves. Everybody's feeling happy about this, that we're finally getting some accountability. And now, this happened. And it's unfortunate. And I think that had it been, you, me, or Aaron, we wouldn't be talking about this because, it would have been a situation of, oh, well, shit, I probably should have waited to think on that one.
Right.
But because it is LeBron James, of course, it becomes a major news story. Aaron, how do you feel on this? Do you think LeBron should have waited a little bit on this? Do you think he got caught up in the hype?
Well, he definitely got caught up in the moment. But you have to, you both have said, you've got to chill just a little bit, calm down just a little bit, and look at all the facts. Had the police, had that guy's picture not been put out, that cop could have been seriously injured by somebody because of LeBron James's tweet. He posted a picture of the guy's face, and what we know, you could agree or disagree about whether he should have used the taser or whatever, but somebody was going to die or get seriously injured. The other girl was going to get seriously injured if the cop did not step in. The girl had a knife swinging at her. So I feel, because I have a relative who's a cop, and so I feel a little bit more like that police officer is going to get a lot of hate that I'm not saying he should or shouldn't get, but at the end of the day, LeBron, with that tweet, just wait, because it literally just happened a few hours before he put that tweet out. Get the information first, because we didn't know what happened at that point. We know now what happened. And I'm sure now LeBron's a smart guy. He would not have tweeted that now. So just wait until the information comes out. And then you can put out a statement saying, that, of course, I feel bad for that girl's family. They lost a loved one. Right. And I feel bad for the other kid, too, because they easily could have been injured, too. So, yeah, LeBron should have waited. But I can't be too mad at the guy for having emotion, because I want my athletes to have emotion. I want them to be human like us, instead of being androids. But for something like that, where you could have seriously gotten that cop hurt or killed, even by people who were agreeing with you and were going to take, he just said accountability. Or he said, you're next. That was the quote. You're next with an hourglass.
Right.
And so anything could have happened. I'll give him props for taking it down. I'll give him credit for deleting it and moving on. And he even put out another tweet later on explaining what he meant. Right. But yeah, you got to just, even I don't go out and tweet stuff until I know the facts, because nobody knows who I am or cares. But still, I want to know that I put something out there that wasn't bad.
Right. Right. Well, and Shannon made a good point. Drawing a line between this and the Chauvin case, Shannon Sharp made a damn good point when he said, in this case, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I love how he said that, because literally you can either use the taser and risk the girl getting stabbed, or you can fire. And you literally, I don't know if you gentlemen have seen the video yet, but it was like that. It was quick.
Yeah.
And I will give him credit that he was able to do that. Do I wish he would have used the taser? You're talking about a 16-year-old girl losing her life. Of course, I wish he would have been able to use the taser. But in the situation presented to him, this is what happened, and this is what happened. This is the outcome.
He probably didn't feel like he had time either.
Right.
I'm sure deep down he would have used the taser, but by the time he puts his gun down and grabs the taser, that girl could have already stabbed the other girl. Absolutely. We don't know what would have happened. He didn't have time to drop one weapon and grab another.
And we got to go back to training, guys. Like Shannon said, his job is to protect and serve. Let's change the narrative. Let's say that he guts everybody. The chick starts stabbing everybody. There, somebody dies. What are they gonna say? He should have what? He should have shot her. Now, those guys, like I told my buddy, man, like we talked earlier, Mike, off the air, they're trained to go home. They're trained to come back home. So with that being said, I'm sure in the academy that if someone has a butcher knife trying to stab people, that you use deadly force, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. He has a split nanosecond to make a life-defining decision to protect himself and protect citizens. So, my heart goes out to her family. My heartfelt condolences, but he did the only thing he could do, guys.
Absolutely. And
some people take that the wrong way.
Mind you, I don't want anyone to think we're dragging this Miss Bryant through the mud or anything, because she was the one who originally called the police, but he had to make a decision.
It's tragic, but the man was doing his job, guys, unfortunately. And he don't take it back for that. So, and you can't compare this to the Chauvin situation. He wasn't choking no damn body to death for nothing. You know what I mean? So you can't compare apples and oranges. So I'm not gonna do that. And it's not. I
completely agree.
It's about right and wrong. It's not about race.
I completely agree.
So
I completely agree with you.
Let's take the race element out too. See, people base a lot of this stuff on emotions too, man. You take the emotional part out of it and just make yourself the exact same as this person that we're talking about. We'll be better for it, man. So
absolutely. I think we lost Aaron there for a second, but he should be back pretty quick. Oh, there he is right there, just as I say something. So he should be loading in pretty quick, and we'll move on to the Ravens, who made a blockbuster trade this week. Orlando Brown now heading to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we have a highlight tape here from Crystal Raven on YouTube.
Orlando Brown.
How about
Taco, Oklahoma.
Wow. How about that?
There's already been
sacked 3 times in this game. He hands off. Big game by Gus Edwards all the way out to the room on the sideline. Again, inactive with an ankle sprain. Suffered in the Philly game. Oh, there's a big gap for Dobbins. He's down to about the 30s. Passing. Here's the handoff up the middle, and Edwards powers across for the touchdown. You lose 2 starters on that offensive line, and you say, you know what? There he is. Jackson weaving for the first in the second half. Short darting throws. 31 up the middle. Edwards, first down.
He now picked up the pace. And he's in the hand. 3rd down and 11. Jackson stepping up. Jackson going deep downfield. 4th and 1. And here they go again. And he's having to pick it up at a lot more. Edwards to the 36-yard line.
Jackson's going to keep it after the fake handoff to Hill. He got it for 4. Dobbins, he wanted more carries, but a little more than a foot. 1 yard out, Dobbins. Touchdown, Baltimore. Dobbins the running back. They fake it to him. They protect Jackson, who launches to Andrews. Open for the touchdown.
What a play call design. This throw, though, is why Jackson.
2nd and 8. Coming after him, and they finally get a sack, and he's down. The fumble was after he was down.
2nd and goal. It's up the middle. Edwards pounding forward. And he's in for a Baltimore touchdown. And that's what he did. Everything moved into the slot. Dupree was coming. RG3 is going. And Robert Griffin is right in the middle of this. And cutting to the outside. Big run for Griffin.
Jackson keeps, gets it, and goodbye. Touchdown, Lamar Jackson, right up the gut. Just did not get the ball to the wideouts all that often. Handoff here and right up the gut. It's Gus Edwards into the open field. Back to work with the ball at the 38. Takes a handoff wide open is Boykin. And he is in for the touchdown. Lost to Washington on Thanksgiving, got dominated in the 4th quarter, and now tonight, absolutely shredded on the ground as Dobbins takes it in for the card in the slot too.
3rd and 3. Keeper. Lamar Jackson. Touchdown. Ravens.
2 here.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Just short of the marker. And they'll go for 6 here. And the touchdown for J.K. Dobbins. And that makes it 34-20 in favor of Baltimore.
Miscommunication by the Ravens the last couple of snaps. Loss of 3 on the play. 3rd and 10. Jackson taking a deep shot, looking for Andrews, and he nearly had the one-handed catch, but a flag.
Okay, you get the point. So we're looking here at this, and I want to kind of talk about a few different things. I want to set this out. The Kansas City Chiefs received Orlando Brown Jr., a 2021 second-round pick and a 2022 sixth. Baltimore receives 2021 first, the 31st overall pick this year, a 3rd, number 94, a 4th, number 136, and a 2022 fifth. For Orlando Brown, basically, and a couple draft picks. So let's talk about this from the we'll start with the Chiefs' perspective. The Chiefs are getting a guy that, in my opinion, is probably the best offensive lineman in the league. I'm certainly glad to see him gone from the AFC North. The Chiefs are also, though, they mortgaged a lot to get rid of this. And, you know, we were talking before we came on the air here. Me and Pettis were, and I said this has got to be a direct correlation or a direct response to the performance in the Super Bowl of their offensive line. First off, you got to say I got to ask, smart move on the Chiefs aspect, or, could they have possibly done what I said, which is use that same capital, gone up in the draft and gotten Penei Sewell, for example, at left tackle? We'll start with you, Pettis. How do you feel about this from the Chiefs' perspective?
Well, there's certain ways you can look at it. We seen Mahomes running for his life in the Super Bowl about 2.5 months ago down in South Florida. So, I mean, a lot of times your superstar calls shots, whether we want to admit it or not.
Right.
They were in on the Trent Williams deal, the Trent Williams sweepstakes, free agency. He decided to go back to my beloved 49ers for what? $136 million. Something
a lot.
But Mahomes was really recruiting him. He really wanted him to protect his blind side. So I'm thinking he went to the front office and said, hey, get me the next best thing.
Right.
Or the number one thing. I think they're 1A and 1B. Both of
True.
them. Orlando Brown is a little younger, so you may want to give him the nod. But you're talking one and the same, a generational type left tackle in the league that can protect your quarterback's blind side for 12 years. So with that being said, I think it was more of a move from Mahomes going to the front office saying, get me this guy, whatever it takes. Now, I'm impressed that they received something back. I didn't look at the trade thoroughly. I didn't realize they received compensation too. So if you look at it, it's not bad thinking the logic that the Ravens are thinking. They build through the draft.
Right.
Ozzie Newsome, before he retired 2 years ago, that's what he was synonymous for, drafting great players. And he's carried that torch over to the GM, the new GM, Eric DeCosta. Like the stat I told you, Mike, 32 Pro Bowlers, 3 first ballot Hall of Famers in 25 years. They feel they can replace him through the draft.
Absolutely.
So like, hey, we get compensation. We'll let him go. And I don't know the ins and outs of his contract. Was his contract looming? Was it opt-out year? See,
it may be.
We don't know that language either. So it could definitely be a win for the Ravens. But as far as Kansas City, yeah, it's a good thing for Mahomes. He needs that. And remember, 2 of their top linemen opted out last year too due to COVID. So they're going to have a strong offensive line this year.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, you look at that tape, and the thing that I just kept looking at was, especially, I was watching the pass plays, how clean the pocket was for Lamar Jackson with Orlando Brown protecting him. There was not a single person, and I realize it's a highlight tape, but still, there wasn't anybody that got near Lamar Jackson in that case. And that allows you quite a bit of leeway. Aaron, what do you think from the Chiefs' perspective? What do you think of this trade?
Well, from the Chiefs, it was, I don't know. I mean, like I said, they gave up a bunch. They gave up so much. It better hit. It better hit for them. And but like you said, he is probably the best offensive lineman in the league. And that wasn't just a highlight tape. I looked it up. 700 snaps last year. He played over 700 offensive snaps and had not given up one quarterback sack. He had given up one sack or one hurry from his side, from his perspective. The guy he was guarding never got near the quarterback the entire season. So, yeah, if you're the Chiefs, you got the best player in the league right now at quarterback. You protect him, and he got absolutely trounced in the Super Bowl. I almost felt bad for him. I was pulling for the Buccaneers. I was pulling for the Buccaneers, but I felt bad at a certain point because I'm like, man, he can't take a snap without getting either hit or rushed or something. They're all over him. So the Chiefs had to have it. They had to have somebody. They couldn't get Williams. They went out and got Brown. Good for them. It better hit because they're losing a lot. And as far as the draft goes, and as a Cowboy fan, when I was 6 years old or 5 years old, we made that trade with Herschel Walker and got ridiculous amount of draft picks out of it. And it ended up creating a dynasty because they got Emmitt Smith, they got Troy Aikman, they got Michael out of that draft, out of those draft picks. So
don't put that evil on me.
The Ravens could easily go use these draft picks and get another, maybe not quite as good as Orlando Brown, but even close. Just go get. They could easily replace them in the draft.
Well, and now that they have all this draft capital, now we'll look at the Ravens side of this thing. Like you said, Mike, I mean, the Ravens are known for building through the draft and making great choices in the draft. Number one, you got to ask, can you replace Brown? I mean, you're taking a hell of a gamble with Lamar Jackson's future. Number two, you got to ask, now that you have this capital, do you make a run, try to get into the maybe top 10 to get a Penei Sewell and, try to replace him if you're the Baltimore Ravens? Pettis?
Oh, you definitely have to make a move because he was vital to the offense, as you've seen. I mean, normally when it's about money, guys, and it's about finances, if you draft, it's a little bit cheaper to draft an incoming player.
Mm-hmm.
You bite the bullet on experience or being as good and being developed. Because Orlando Brown was developed when he came out of Alabama?
Oklahoma, yeah.
Okay, Oklahoma. I'm sorry, forgive me, guys. But when he came out of college, he was ready to rock. So,
oh yeah,
I think you go get a temporary Band-Aid, if you will, and maybe move up and draft one of these top linemen. Because once again, the same deal. You have to protect your young quarterback.
Exactly.
Right-handed quarterback. Well, he's a left-handed quarterback.
Left-handed.
He still needs to be protected. And remember, guys, Orlando Brown was huge in the run game. Huge. Mm-hmm. And that's Baltimore's staple. So, yeah, they definitely got to replace him. It's just they may find a cheaper option for now until they develop someone to, take that spot permanently.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aaron, what do you think from the Ravens' perspective? Are they going to look to trade up and try to get the left tackle out of Oregon, Penei Sewell, or do they let it just address itself throughout the draft? How do you feel like this is going to work out for the Ravens?
Well, I mean, if you look at them, I really don't know all about their needs right now. And obviously, they got their quarterback set up for the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Their running backs were pretty good last year. You losing Brown, yeah, you're going to have to replace him. So if I was them, I would try to trade up and get one of these top offensive linemen.
Makes sense.
But I don't know what Jim Harbaugh's thinking, at this point, or the GM there. I don't know what their thought process is, but it would be there's going to be so many linemen available out there. If you see somebody else, that you think could be there later on, then why not just wait and use your draft picks to stock up your team and get whatever guy you think. That's the one thing the Ravens do. They don't go out and get the best players. They go out and get the best players for them, for their system, for their team.
Right.
It may not be the guys that we think are necessarily the best players. It's just who's best for Baltimore. And that's who they'll go get.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Look at Joe Flacco, for crying out loud. That guy, honestly, I don't think he ever would have had the career he had anywhere else but Baltimore. And he worked in Baltimore. And that's the thing, familiarity breeds contempt. I think the Baltimore Ravens are carbon copy of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're not known to trade up for anybody. We let people come to us. So, I mean, it would make sense for them not to go up. But at the same time, if Lamar gets in somebody's ear like, hey, man, I ain't trying to run for my life,
right?
Then we could see them try to make a move.
The whole narrative, once that superstar starts grumbling, man, I mean.
Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, we're seeing it right now.
Right. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's the thing about it, with Lamar is you got to wonder what they were thinking necessarily with this, because they're knocking on the door of a Super Bowl, right? You got to think the Ravens are right there, as much as I hate to admit it. They're more so there than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we went undefeated for 11 weeks this year. And now they got rid of one of their key components on that offensive line. It'll be interesting. But like you said, they're a lot like us. They're known for their big bruising offensive line and their run game. They're going to have to replace them. And I'm sure, as much as I hate to give him credit, I'm sure Harbaugh does not let him go without knowing that he has a plan. He's a very smart coach.
Hey guys, remember the hard cap shrunk this year too, and plus
Did
his
it?
team with less revenue because of the COVID issue. So we got to take that all into effect too. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, the cap is bigger next year than this year. So a lot of people are deferring money. They're doing a lot of creative things now, but some things you can't finagle or finesse. You just got to let go. And we probably need to look it up. I'm gonna look it up when I get off the phone. I bet it was like what's this? His third year in the league.
When you told me last night when he was drafted. Hold on.
2018.
I bet it was
So yeah,
with that option year or something. They had to pay him. You can't pay everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, let's be honest. If it was 2018, that would have been the same draft that Lamar came out of. You've got to think about giving Lamar a large extension.
Yeah. And it's an arms race. I mean, they got to watch what Cleveland's doing, what Pittsburgh's doing. It's an arms race, guys, in every division. Let's face it. It is.
It really is. It absolutely is. Especially like you said, now you add used to all you had to do was look over at Pittsburgh. It was Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Now Cleveland's starting to try to come up. I mean, Cincinnati's still kind of at the bottom, but Cleveland's also going to be a problem here for the next few years.
Right.
So definitely something to keep your eye on for sure is the chess game inside of that division there in the AFC North. Okay, gentlemen. So now on to one of our favorite subjects we're going to have today. We get to brag a little bit. The number 1 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. I cannot believe I actually just said that. In college baseball. I am very happy that I get to say that, but number 1 ranked in Arkansas don't seem to match very often. So I'm very happy that I get to say that. So looking at them this year, and we have a story, or we actually have some highlights from the South Carolina game from the Arkansas Razorbacks YouTube. But I just want to kind of set the tone here for what we're going to be talking about, and it's going to really be a tone of dominance. You're talking about they were 7-0 in February, 13-3 in March, 12-4 in April. So they have a total of 7 losses on the season thus far, and that is it for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Let's take a look at these highlights from South Carolina. I believe it was Thursday evening.
The number 1 team in college baseball on the road for the next 6 games as we welcome you inside Founders Park in Columbia, South Carolina. Caleb Bolden will be getting the ball for his first SEC start of the season. Bolden ready, the pitch. Clark a swing and a miss, strike 3. Swung on and belted high and deep to right by Moore. That's out of here. Robert Moore. Trouble. Gregory's there, leaping at the wall. Gregory made the catch for the 3rd out. Zach Gregory near the fence. Highlight that man. 1-2. Struck him out looking. Fastball on the inside corner, getting Heinrichs for the 3rd out. Long run for Battles to pick it up in the throw. The tap out. Into swung on, belted by Moore to right field for the 2nd time today. Robert Moore over the fence into the palmetto trees. Bob Moore bat flipper. Shows bunt, got it down 3rd base. That's a beaut. Picked up by Heinrich, puts it in his pocket, and Opitz scores. What a bunt by Zach Gregory. Swung on, right back up the middle. It hits 2nd base, goes to center. Scores Wallace. Franklin into 2nd. The throw's too high. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 0-2 pitch. He struck him out swinging. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, Colin Burgess. Good night, South Carolina. Hogs win 6-1. This one belongs to the Razorbacks.
And there you saw it. I mean, this is the thing about the Arkansas Razorbacks and the baseball team. Is anybody better at developing pitchers than Dave Van Horn? Let's start there. I mean, Dave Van Horn can take – you'll be sitting there thinking, man, this is going to be a down year for our pitching. And Dave Van Horn will come out and just freaking let it loose with the pitchers. And this guy is the Nick Saban for me of college baseball because this guy gets so much out of even the guys that aren't meant to do anything, he gets so much out of it. So let's start there. The pitching of the Razorbacks has always been a strong suit. And again, it looks like it's that way this year.
Mike, it's funny you said that because I had a few notes here. The only thing to keep us from getting to Omaha and winning it. This team is 32-7, 13-5 in the toughest conference in America. Not to mention, well over 7 teams in their conference rank, 3 in the division, which by happen to be in the top 10. So it's impressive from the standpoint you're not playing Bubblegum State. You're playing the best of the best every weekend. You're playing against guys that are going to play in the majors. So that's what really makes you take a step back and look at the overall program. Like, this is a top-notch program.
Absolutely.
Mike, they lead the country in home runs at 76, lead the country in RBIs, lead the country in runs scored, and slugging percentage is probably number 5. This team can score with the best of them. Have been behind 11 times, 3 or more runs after the 7th inning and came back and won. With that all being said, we know we can score. We know we got bats. We know we got the likes of freshman All-American Caden Wallace, All-American Christian Franklin, preseason All-Conference Matt Goodhart, Casey Opitz, which will be a pick next year. And don't let me get on the pitching. Our biggest obstacle is staying healthy and our pitching.
Absolutely.
You have to get at least 5 quality innings out of your starters to not eat your bullpen up. That's the only thing to keep us away from Omaha. Now, do we have the talent? Yes. Do we have the arms? Yes. We just have to be more consistent. That's it. And not get into our bullpen in the 2nd inning where we're down 10. And I'm not trying to sound like the devil's advocate because we're having a great year, but I know y'all still remember the pop fly in 18.
Oh,
that's where God. We got to win this damn thing, man. You feel me, Aaron? We got to win,
I do.
Man. That's the only thing, because I watch it every day. That's the only thing to keep us from carrying that trophy, because if y'all notice, this team don't care about being number 1. They don't even talk about it. Van Horn got those guys laser-like focused. They're even keeled. They don't get too high, get too low. They're at Ole Miss. They're throwing all the beer up and they score home runs and dancing at home plate. We hit 9 home runs. We tap helmets and go to the dugout. This team got everything to win the whole damn thing. We just have to have more consistent pitching. And I think it's true. That's my take.
Especially during tournament time, that's the thing. If you reach into your bullpen early during tournament, that's going to become a problem, and that'll bite you in the ass at the end. I remember that year that we made it one out away, and it came down to pitching.
Yep.
That hurt.
I think it was against South Carolina, too.
I think it was. I think it may have been.
It was Oregon State.
Oh, yeah, it was Oregon State.
Oh, you were talking about the actual game. I was thinking back when they had Roth and all those 10 years back. You're talking about I don't like to think about that.
That one still haunts me in my dreams. 3 guys standing there just watch the ball fall right in between them. I thought I was going to get the cops called on me. I was cursing so loud.
We'll just make it a no-doubter this time.
That's right. Aaron, what do you think?
I'm so freaking excited to talk about this because, oh my gosh, it's been – well, I'm 36, so I can't remember the last time an Arkansas team was – other than the basketball team in 94, but I was like 9 years old when that happened, so I wasn't as in tune to it as I am now. And a couple of that year we made it that we won't talk about, I didn't even think we had a chance to make it there, so I wasn't like – super I was excited we were there, but I didn't really feel like, I was like almost just happy to be there at that point.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, when the pop fly hit, I was cursing and screaming too, but this is a different year. This is the year like you said, Mike Pettis, win the whole damn thing or it doesn't matter. We have to win the whole thing or this season means absolutely nothing to me. Being number 1's great. I'm loving being number one and having the whole world gun for us and our guys just constantly knocking them off.
Right.
One at a time. They come knocking on our door, we just knock them back. This is great, but if you don't get to June in Omaha, it doesn't matter. If you don't win the whole thing, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But this team, I will agree. The pitching, I mean, this South Carolina series that just ended yesterday, we dominated.
We did.
All but one inning.
But one inning.
One inning. That sixth inning of game one yesterday was like the whole pitching staff just couldn't find the strike zone. Walk, hit that, walk. That can't happen in the tournament. That can't happen in the game.
It can't.
Especially not against teams. I mean, you look at it just right across the division in the Eastern Division, leading their division is the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are ranked number 2. Then in our division, we have number 4 Mississippi State, number
10 Ole Miss.
I mean,
it's a gauntlet, man, and
it really is. The thing that I worry about, you guys talk about pitching, and I think this comes into play, but I worry about this SEC tournament. It's going to be such a damn gauntlet that whoever comes out of it I almost want to lose the SEC tournament just to get to Omaha quicker.
You took the words out of my mouth. Van Horn going to go in the SEC tournament giving cats experience for the tournament. He ain't going to look at it as a must win. We're good enough. We're good enough to win with day 2 and day 3 starters in the SEC tournament. You just have to be consistent. It doesn't have to be Wick Lander or Peyton Paulette or Zebulon Vermillion. We may throw Connor Nolan out there or Cole Ramage or Caden Bolden. It's so deep, man. You just want to be consistent. The pitching staff is so deep. Aaron, how many times have Van Horn pulled somebody in the 2nd or 3rd this year? And we came back and won. A lot.
Yep.
Imagine if you don't have to do that. If you give me 5, 4 in the 3rd, 4 and 2/3, we're dangerous, man. We are very dangerous. We're our biggest enemy. Quit walking people, hit people. I know it happens, but once we clean that up, we'll be unstoppable. I expect us to win the whole thing. That's where I'm headed. I do.
I agree. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Vanderbilt. I'm not worried about Mississippi State. I'm not worried about as great, and I'm not saying they're not great teams because they are. But this is the one year where I feel like we can honestly say we're the best overall team in this whole country. Best overall team in the entire country, like you said.
Overall team, wire to wire.
And I mean,
we're
this is the first.
The only thing that can stop us.
To even speak about this, this is the first time in a long time that we aren't even talking about, even though we know we're going to get it, hosting in the NCAA tournament. We're obviously going to get it. But everybody in the past few years has just been like, hey, I want to host. I want to host. Now we don't care. We want to win the damn thing. We don't want to host it. We want to win the damn thing and bring the trophy back to Fayetteville.
Exactly. We're not excited about hosting or being there. We want to win the whole thing at the end. And another thing, what Van Horn told his team? He's like, well, he didn't tell the team. He told the media. He's like, it doesn't matter if it's predetermined or not. You're going to have some teams where it's predetermined sites and they ain't going to even be there. So imagine that. So you better take care of business. Don't worry about where it's at. Let them worry about that. You better just keep winning. They're even killed, and they're not thinking about the rankings and number 1 and we're good. They got their mind on one thing, getting to Omaha and winning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we can all agree that's the goal. This season feels different. And that is, this season it's champions or we're not happy with what we got. Right. And I love the fact that that's where DVH is. I think Dave Van Horn is the same way. He knows that if he doesn't win this title, he's going to be unhappy with this season. And I like that we have a coach that has that mindset.
He's the best in college baseball. He just needs those rings to back it up, man.
Exactly what I was about to say. Yep. He's got it. He needs that ring. He needs that ring.
He needs that to validate it.
Exactly. And it'll be fun. Actually, next week, we're going to have Chuck Barrett, the voice of the Razorbacks, on the Natural State Sports Podcast with us, joining us to talk a little bit of hog sports, so to speak. I'm sure we'll get into a little bit of the spring football, a little bit of the baseball, and, of course, some basketball talk as well. with him on here, but definitely it'll be fun to see where he thinks the ceiling is for this team.
I'm sure he'll say the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 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 Well, gentlemen, we got about 6 minutes left. We've run out of topics. Anything else you guys want to discuss before we close up shop?
Not at all, man. I just want to send a heartfelt condolences out to the family of Terrence Clark, the young man that died in a car accident in LA.
The Kentucky player?
Yeah, that's real sad, man. He's a good kid with a bright future, man. I hate that. Condolences to his family.
19-year-old kid getting ready for the NBA draft, and unfortunately dies in a car accident. Well, with that being said,
real quick, I talked to you about this yesterday, Michael. Steve McMichael, former Chicago Bear, battling AIDS. Man, I'm sure he won't see this, but keep fighting, man. That sucks. It's sad. I love Steve McMichael. Just, we all know what the end game is probably going to be, but until then, man, just rest up, get better, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the toughest individuals to ever play the game on that 85 Bears team. So definitely want to send our well wishes out to Mongo as well in his fight against ALS and Lou Gehrig's disease. Of course, tomorrow, around the same time, I think from 1 to 3, we're going to have the Wrestling Wrap-Up podcast with myself and Aaron, where we're going to be talking about everything that happened in pro wrestling this week. Monday, we have the American Idiots, and Tuesday, we have Clear and Convincing. And if we can work it out, we'll try to get a little draft watch party together and do a little watch-along for the first round of the NFL draft this week. If not, we'll be back next Saturday, same time, with our interview with Chuck Barrett and a little bit more sports talk. So I am Money Mike for Mr. Pettis and Aaron. We will hope you guys have a wonderful week.
He's trying to get out of